Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Good to have you along on this Thursday. In studio with us today is Yavapai County Recorder Anna Wayman-Trujillo. We've got an election coming up just a little over a week away on March 8th, and so we thought we'd have her come into studio and talk a little bit about that. She brought all kinds of interesting things with her, including the ballot envelope, which we'll talk about. But it's good to see you today.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
Let's start off with, are there any issues with the current election? Because sometimes we'll get a bunch of phone calls that says, well, you know, this didn't say that, or this didn't say that, or you guys have to send something different out.
You know, this election, knock on wood, is going very smoothly. I have not heard of any issues or problems that are going on. So unfortunately, I should have checked to see what the turnout so far is, but we do want to remind people that they do want to get their ballots back to us. You know, we've got to have them back by 7 p.m. on Election Day, which is March 8th.
Week from next Tuesday. Okay, we've got elections, primary elections going on in the city of Cottonwood, where Diane Jones is running unopposed. And we've got, what do we got, 3, 6, 7 candidates running for 3 council seats there. Yep. Town of Camp Verde's having a primary. They've got 2 candidates for mayor and then 4 candidates for 3 seats. Down there. Chino Valley's got a couple people running for mayor, as well as 2, 4, 6 people running for 3 seats. Also, Dewey Humboldt's got a mayoral and a council race. And then Prescott Valley has just a council race. They've got, what do they got, 2, 4, 6 candidates for 4 seats.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In the Cottonwood race, Diane Jones is running unopposed. Is it safe to assume that she's going to win it outright, or is there a possibility that maybe somebody else could change that?
Well, I don't think there's any official write-in candidates.
Okay.
You know, the cities and towns, what we do when we do jurisdictional elections is we contract with them. So they are actually the ones that make the rules. We just basically hold their election for them. We would need to check with the city of Cottonwood to make sure, but I think candidates have to get 50% plus 1 in order to win that seat.
Okay.
If you're running unopposed, I'm not sure how that breakdown works. And they're the ones that always tell us who the winners are in that race, and they're the ones who give us those final. We give them the final results. They come back and say these are our winners. So if there's a runoff, they're the ones that actually determine the percentages and what the runoffs.
And then the runoff candidates go on to the general.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, why is it important for folks to, we've talked to you about this before, why is it important for people to participate in the primary? Because a lot of people, I think, kind of put the primary in the back shelf and say, oh, I'll just deal with this on the general. Well,
you know, the primary is one that really picks the candidates that are going to run for the general. And in elections like this, when you have a lot of candidates or in smaller elections, you could have people win outright in the primary. Again, I believe it is 50% plus 1, and don't quote me on that. You would want to check with the cities and towns and see what their charter says as to how people win those primary elections. But if they get that percentage, they win outright. Then they don't have to run in the general election. So say, for instance, there's 4 seats in Cottonwood. If you have 2 people who win that percentage outright, then there's only 2 seats left that are chosen in the general to run for. And it is not uncommon to not have any elections in the November. If everybody wins outright, then their general election basically is called off. They don't have to.
Camp Verde to me looks like it'd be like the best choice. There's 4 candidates for 3 seats.
Sure.
I mean, all 3 could be elected outright.
Absolutely. So if you are waiting until they have their basically general election in May, they may not have one if everybody wins outright.
So what do we need to know specifically about the March 8th primary? What are some of the important
Well,
parts
they
of
are
that?
all vote-by-mail elections. In Yavapai County, the Board of Supervisors passed an ordinance several years ago that said any election other than a state, county, or federal election, because by law we can't hold total vote-by-mail elections for those, but any jurisdictional election that we hold them vote by mail. And one of the main reasons is, well, there's 2 main reasons actually, is because it's much cheaper for us to do that. And also the voter turnout is so much higher. So you get a lot more bang for your buck.
Why is it cheaper?
Well, because we do things a lot differently. We get to send all the ballots out. We don't have to staff polling places, which is very expensive. We don't have to find polling places, which is very expensive. We don't have to run early voting boards and those types of things, and then have the polling place issues that we have. So it is much cheaper for us to do a vote-by-mail election. And then because we get You know, I'm not sure what the percentages are running about now, but it's usually over 50% in every jurisdiction that has a vote by mail election, compared to, I think, the last City of Cottonwood election they had that was polling place. I think they had an 18% turnout. You get a whole lot more bang for your buck. By law, whenever you hold an election, you have to have, so for instance, Cottonwood has 5,300 registered voters. We have to order 101% ballots for those voters. You have to be prepared for those voters to go to the poll. When you get an 18% turnout, you're basically taking a whole lot of things that you have to buy, and with the low turnout, you're not really getting the best bang for your buck. So when you have a higher turnout, you're getting a whole lot more return for that money.
Okay, so I imagine the people like these ballots too because they can sit at home and look it over, maybe
correct.
go to a candidate's forum and take their ballot and make their decisions right there.
That's right.
It just gives you a little more leeway.
Yeah, and you don't have to return your ballot immediately. But we do want to remind people again that all of those ballots have to be back into our office or our drop boxes by 7 o'clock on election night. So if you are holding those and kind of going to the candidate forums and waiting to see what you're going to do, make sure you get those. If you have them, don't mail them after, I would say next Tuesday. Yeah, a week from today. I would not mail them. I would make sure that you either drop them off at the jurisdiction, or all the jurisdictions that are having elections have drop-off boxes in front of their town halls. And the clerks actually go and they take care of that information. They get us the ballots and stuff. So you want to make sure that you get those into those drop boxes.
Can they be dropped off at the annex buildings in Cottonwood and Prescott?
Yes.
Okay, because there's special ballot boxes there too.
Yes, there are. Now, Prescott is not really having an election. Prescott Valley is. They do have a drop-off box at Prescott Valley. You can take them into the Prescott Valley Town Hall and drop them off. You can drop them off at the Prescott office as well. We have a drop-off box at Fair Street, and you can bring them in. But we don't usually, unless we have an election in Prescott, see a lot of that traffic.
But you'll check it.
You betcha.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
You'll check it. Okay. So those all have to be in by 7 p.m. March 8th, which is a week from this next Tuesday.
That's correct.
Okay. Let's take our first break.
Okay.
Yavapai County Recorder Anna Wayman-Trujillo in studio today. I'm Paul David. We're talking about the March 8th primary election. It's coming up just around the corner. Stick around. Countywide. We'll be back in just a second.